The New York Giants just got incredibly disrespected. Let's talk about it. My name is Paul. This is Big Apple Sports. Tune in every day for the latest Giants news, insights, and analysis. If you're a fan of Giants football, this is the channel for you, so don't miss out. Take just a quick second, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, maybe even get some alerts on because I got a lot more Giants content coming. And I think this is going to be a fun end of the season, or, second half of the season with Jackson Dart and Cam Scadaboo. The offense should be a lot better. Before I get into the disrespect the Giants are facing, give me your predictions for this week. Are they going to beat the Saints? Give me a score prediction. Who's going to have a big game? Who's going to step up in the absence of Malik Neighbors? Give me some Jackson Dart stat lines. I always like to hear from you guys, so drop me your takes in the comments. Anyways, let's talk about this Giants disrespect. So, coming out of last week's games, the opening line for the Giants Saints was, I believe the Giants were a 2-point favorite. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Yep, they came out as a 2-point favorite against the Saints. And if there's anybody who, nobody knows what they're doing, but if there's anybody who knows what they're doing, it's the Vegas odds makers. There's a reason Vegas is rich and we're all poor. They know what they're doing. They believe the Giants are going to win this game. But as the week has gone on, all of a sudden, the Saints are a 2.5-point favorite, which means, for those of you who don't really follow how betting works and stuff, that means all the money is being bet on the New Orleans Saints because Vegas, they don't like to see, 90% of money on one team. If more of the money's coming onto one team, they're going to just keep shifting that line over and over towards that team until they find more of a level playing field. And right now, it has shifted to almost a full field goal for the Saints. And it's not just Vegas who has that. This right here is NBC Sports. One of their big odds makers says he thinks the bet is Saints money line. If I come over here, this is Sports Illustrated. They like the Saints to win the game and to cover the spread. They got 21-17 Saints. If I go over here to CBS Sports, you'll see more of the same thing. They like the Saints to cover. They have Saints 21-14. And I think that's disrespectful. Like, looking at this Saints team this year, they're hot garbage. Like, they put up a decent fight against the Bills last week. Lost by 12 points, but that game was never in doubt. I think that was the kind of game that the Bills, they knew who they were playing. They just slept-walked through the game. They got absolutely murdered by the Seahawks, just completely run off the field. And then don't be fooled by these home games against the Cardinals and the 49ers. They both finished as one-score games, but both the Niners and the Cardinals were up double digits late in the fourth quarter, and the Saints put up a garbage touchdown. And it's the same thing with Spencer Rattler. A lot of people are talking about, hey, he's actually having a pretty good season. But a lot of his yards are in garbage time when his team's down 2 scores, and the defense is like, hey, you can score on us, but you're not going to do it quickly. We're just going to let you throw little 5 to 7 yard passes in the middle of the field, take away the sidelines, take away the deep ball. And he's just compiling meaningless stats. This is not a good football team. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I think the Giants are some juggernaut. But, they just beat an undefeated team who had beaten the Broncos, the Chiefs, and a lot of people were talking about as maybe a potential Super Bowl team, maybe Justin Herbert as an early front runner for MVP, and the Giants beat them. And I think one thing from that game that I absolutely loved is, the first possession, defense came out, and they looked pretty good, got a stop, but then the Giants go right down the field and score a touchdown. Jackson Dart carries it in from 15 yards out. And one of my favorite things from that game is the second possession. the defense just played with so much more energy. You could just tell how hyped they were to see, like, hey, we have an offense that actually has our backs. Like, it's so hard as a defense to know, like, if you give up 10 points, you're probably going to lose. And to spend, 40 minutes a game on the field because your offense is just going 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. But after the Giants went on, like, a long, sustained touchdown drive, that defense was hyped. They were, like, you could just see they knew we have a quarterback now, we can score, we can just come out and play our game on defense. And they played with confidence, and they shut down what's been one of the best offenses in the NFL this season. And I think that's so huge for this team because this is a super talented defense. And yeah, it was a pretty ugly first couple games, but they've played some really good offenses this year. I hate to give the Cowboys any credit because I hate the Cowboys, but the Cowboys dropped a 40-piece on the Packers, who a lot of people were talking about with Micah Parsons as maybe the best defense in the NFL. So all of a sudden, that terrible defensive performance from the Giants maybe doesn't look as bad. And the way you saw them shut down the Chargers, one of the best offenses in the NFL, I hope that's what we're going to see moving forward. So I hope that the Giants are looking around at all these people picking the Saints and being like, did you watch us last week? And have you watched a second of the Saints? Because they are hot garbage. But one person specifically who I know is going to come in with a huge chip on his shoulder is Jackson Dart. Let me pull this over for you. He mentioned this week that he remembers the Saints passing up on him in the first round. I guess technically the Giants did too, but then they traded back up and redeemed themselves and took him later in the first round. But like the Saints came into the draft, everybody was like, man, they need a quarterback. And they passed on Jackson Dart. I think they had the 9th pick. That would have been a completely appropriate spot to draft him. And then they waited until the 2nd round and took Tyler Shaw, who's already like 35 years old, and they couldn't even beat out Spencer Rattler for the starting job. And I'd imagine they're going to be picking in the top 10 probably top 3 this year, and they're going to realize the mistake they made and take a quarterback this year. But regardless, Jackson Dart, he's coming into the game with a chip on his shoulder, showing he has something to prove. And I think he's going to have a big-time game against a pretty pathetic defense who's going to be without Chase Young. I think they're not going to be able to get much pressure on the Giants at all, and the Giants' defense is going to overwhelm the Saints' offense. My score prediction, I'm going to say 24-16 Giants. But you guys, give me your takes. Let me know in the comments who's going to win, who's going to have a big game. I like Darius Slayton this week. I think he's going to step up. It seemed like Dart was looking his way a lot after Malik Neighbors went down. But you guys give me your takes, and I'll do my best to respond to some of you. And then don't forget, just like and subscribe on the way out.